So, 10 years before I started doing these anatomy mosaics, this was the first version, sort of a prototype. Um, and, it was just made from normal, 5/8 square cut stone that I cut by hand with nippers. And, it turned out pretty nice. But I'm going to go in the other room and show you, 10 years later, I couldn't get over wanting to make them full size. So here's the exact same image, full size. The figure is 6 feet tall. And over in the corner there is the second one. It's hard to see in here because there's so much stuff. And here is the third one. These first three were done mostly with tile nippers, other than slicing the stone into strips on a wet saw. The eyes are, actually on this one are sapphires. This one also has sapphires for eyes. And they kind of take up the whole wall here. I'll show you the studio too, but first I'm going to do kind of an overview of the project. So after I did those, I did the nerves. Here's the first piece, the fourth mosaic I did. It's the nerves of the back. And then here is the nerves of the front. There's a lot of glare in here. Draw back to a sunroom. And this one, there's a really cool thing that I discovered. If you look at this clavicle, it looks broken right here, like it's incorrect. But I followed the drawing really closely, so if I step back about this far and over to here, now it doesn't look broken, it looks correct, which, like a little forensic thing, I'm pretty sure that when this image was drawn, I'm standing where the artist was in relation to the cadaver that he was drawing. I don't know, for some reason I just think that's fascinating, that it looks correct from here, but looks broken from here. Then I went on to do a lot of the skeleton and muscles. So let's see, actually this was the first of these. And this is one of my favorites. The rib cage looks so incredibly 3D. It just looks like you could reach inside there. So there's that one. And then I did this one, which is a little more stylized actually. I didn't mean it to be, but the muscles in the ribs here, the way the shading was in the drawing, when you do it in stone, looks a little more geometric and a little less realistic, but the face came out really nice. These eyes are all rubies. Here's this guy. Oh, another piece I really like. I really like this hand because it just looks so natural. It's sort of draped in a really realistic way. And then this is the most recent one. And of course it's got the most glare, but it's this one is so detailed. Like, if you just look at the teeny little pieces here. And I'm a little dismayed that the grout got so dark around the nerves in the face. Up close it looks good, but when you back up it's a little too dark. I wish that were not quite like that. But too late now. So a lot of detail in the hand. And all of these intricate shapes were cut on a bandsaw that I'll show you in a minute. Tailbone came out really nice. The shading on this hand is pretty nice. A lot of detail in the feet. So anyway, this is where they're in storage, the sunroom slash movie room. Here's one of the two workrooms. This is the mosaic that's in progress now. These plastic sheets are for quilting patterns, but I have to put my hand down on the mosaic when I lean in to look close at detail. And that keeps the stone from sticking to my hand or getting disarrayed. So there's a nice foot. Going up the leg. These are strips of contact paper that I lay over the drawing and draw with a pen, and then I can stick it to the stone so I can cut the stone. Pelvis is coming along. This is where I left off last night. I'll get that quadrant done, and maybe the other one too here tonight. The hand. Come look at the other hand. And you can see the work table, the mosaic itself, but the work table gets piled up with stone while I'm working. All the colors I need are at hand. So here we go. Here's the other hand. And up the arm. And then here's the workbench, which actually is a scaffold that I got super cheap at Harbor Freight. But it makes a great table for working because A, it's big. B, it's cheap, it's sturdy, much sturdier than the things they sell as work tables. And you can adjust the height. So here's the tools. This is the all-you-need flat lap grinder from Diamond High Tech. Use that a lot. This saw is new. It's their 6-inch offcut saw, and I use that for when I need to cut a very straight line. For example, here, these stones are glued together and then cut there. These are glued together and cut there and there. These are glued, cut there and there, and these. So that saw came in handy to be able to make a circle in the same way that, slices of pizza are triangles and make a circle. So I was able to make the stone go all the way around. And I could have done that, of course, cutting them one at a time by hand with tile nippers, but I get a much cleaner look this way. All right, and then this is a glass grinder from Griffin Studio, and it just spins this little, my table's not on. There's a power strip back here, and when I flip it, now all the machines are live and all of the bright LED work lights come on. So I can turn the lights on with one switch. So there we go. It just spins around and it lets you cut a curve into the stone. If you want to cut, a curve like this, you can do it on the flat lap grinder. And then this is the CR40 diamond bandsaw from Griffin. And at this point, almost every piece I cut gets touched by this machine because it's just so much more precise. When I do cut things with the nippers, then I take them over to the flat lap and grind them so that they're, nice and smooth. This has a little water feed that goes into that bucket there. And so it's got its own on-off switch because otherwise every time I turn on the flat lap, the water runs, and that's running too much water. The piece of metal that holds the lights up is something I found in the yard and threw on the scrap pile years ago, and then turned out to be the perfect size and rigidity to hold up these lights when there's a big TV there, so I can watch TV while I'm working. And all the water drains into that other bucket. I've got a little dolly that I have to modify so it can hold both of the buckets, because the other nice thing about this scaffold is it's on wheels with locks. So in the other room behind it, when I start the next mosaic, I'll just spin that table around and leave this here and then do installation on both on the same day. So I only have to hire a guy for help for one day instead of two. So anyway, that's the studio. Oh, and there was a sale on shelving at Home Depot, so this holds all the stone. And it turns out, even though I started this video with like half my battery full, now I'm down to like 5%. So maybe I'll shoot some live video of working on the Mosaic later tonight, but I should probably go for now. Oh, another thing, I guess people are using shop towels to make masks now, and I hope I can still get some, because these blue shop towels, I never used them before this project, but I can use one for a couple of days, whereas regular paper towels, every one of those lapidary machines uses water and creates dust, and the dust and water make mud on the stone. So every time I use any of the machines, I've got to clean it off with one of the blue towels. But yeah, those last like so much longer than regular towels. The other tools I use, I move the stone around mostly with this, and I use it to cut the tape and stuff. Scissors for cutting the tape. Inside a fine tip Sharpie is this, which I took out, and then I had to kind of customize a lid for it. But the reason I did that is when I'm trying to get it, a drawing down in somewhere like here, this fits, this does not. So modified fine point Sharpie, and I do still use these to cut stone quite a bit. This little dental pick, one of many, is especially useful for tamping down the little nylon spacers that keep everything spaced. These little lapidary tweezers are my favorites, and they've got a little shovel on them that's cool. I don't use it much. Cheap fake credit card that they send you in the mail makes a nice straight edge, and also, like, if I cut the tape and need to mark the edge of it with a Sharpie, I do that on this side. Leave it there. Scotch tape sometimes I use to put down and make a drawing. Yeah, that's basically the tool setup. So anyway, that's what I do when I'm in the studio, and I'll go charge my phone, and then later when I'm working, I can show you how I do some of the stuff. Thanks for looking.